Okay, so you clicked on this video because you want to learn how to draw. But let's be honest, you're tired of feeling frustrated with what seems like an impossible skill to learn. You've been on Reddit, you've watched YouTube and TikTok, and all you hear is that in order to improve at drawing, you just need to draw more. Well, they are wrong. And by the end of this video, you'll understand why your progress has been so slow and exactly how I learned to draw within a year. And it all begins with math. Let me explain. Now, the problem with saying just draw a lot is that we assume drawing is a creative skill, like playing guitar, learning to cook, or playing patty cakes. But let me be the first to tell you that creativity that isn't just chaos cannot exist without basic understanding. In fact, creative skills are more like STEM than we're all led to believe. But here's the thing. Never in a million years will we think to tell someone to learn the skill of math by just doing a lot of random math. Learning engineering by doing a lot of engineering, or learn science by doing a lot of science. Those skills, all skills, from guitar to cooking to painting, and especially drawing, require some level of basic knowledge to improve. So the question is, how do we learn math? And more importantly, how does it make learning to draw easier? So, if we want to learn math, we must first learn numbers. Okay. All right. Stick with me. I promise you, this will make sense. We must learn odds and evens. We must learn to count ones, fives, tens, and hundreds before we can even think about solving a basic math equation. Now, if basic math requires foundational skills, then what is the basic skill of drawing? Well, when I first started drawing, I watched YouTube tutorials and I felt lost. I watched anatomy tutorials and I still felt confused. And each time I picked up the pencil, I felt frustrated and angry at my lack of progress. But the thing that transformed my drawings was something so simple. And that was learning to draw simple shapes. But here's the thing, just because I knew the basics of drawing shapes like circles, squares, and triangles, I still felt lost. How in the world do you apply shapes to drawing figures? Well, this next math skill is what helped me improve. So now that we understand numbers, let's start solving some equations. Let's solve 2 plus 2, 8 minus 4, 8 divided by 2. Each of these equations, each of these skill sets require a higher level of understanding. No matter what the number may be, we still need to use basic problem-solving skills in order to learn, in order to improve. Now, when it comes to drawing, I knew shapes were important. But how? How was I supposed to understand how to use shapes to draw figures? And this next skill is what helped me learn the illusion of drawing. You see, in reality, drawing is actually a trick. It's a lie. We use lines and shapes to fool people into seeing things that don't really exist. We learn to create the illusion of 3D shapes. We learn to create the illusion of perspective. We learn to create the illusion of form and figures. And we do this by learning to draw cubes and cylinders that help us create the sense that this one-dimensional piece of paper this one-dimensional canvas can hold 3D space. So if you're like me and found yourself stuck trying to learn how to draw 3D shapes and form, then the thing that helped me was online classes and learning paths that can be found on Skillshare, which is a sponsor of this video. Now, Skillshare is an amazing platform with thousands of classes led by incredible professionals who teach illustration, design, productivity, photography, film, online business, and way more. So with this summer just beginning and many of us having more time to work on our hobbies, I've decided to dive even deeper into the fundamentals of drawing and improve my understanding of the basics. And one of the classes I'm using to improve is Form and Space, 3D Drawing and Perspective by Brent Eviston. Listen, guys, drawing has changed my life. And if you're ready to turn your I want to learn to draw into I made it happen, then Skillshare could be the change you need. And the best part, you get all this for free if you access the link below. So the first 500 people to use my link in the description will receive 1 month free trial of Skillshare. Get started today. Thank you, Skillshare, for sponsoring this video. Well, now that we can solve basic math equation, the next step is to learn to solve algebraic equations. I'm sorry. We have to learn to deal with variables and unknown elements. We need to learn the order of which to solve each equation, the sequence. And the next stage of drawing requires us to solve variables as well. We learn to stack 3D shapes in unique ways, combining them together using perspective to create the illusion of 3D space. And this skill of drawing is called construction. And construction allows us to learn how to draw things in perspective, how to deal with foreshortening, and most importantly, how to make our figures feel less flat. But with construction comes a new problem. Although our drawings feel less flat, they still feel stiff and robotic. And so this next math skill is by far, even to this day, my favorite skill to practice. So we've learned numbers, we've learned basic math, we've learned Algebra 1, and now it's time that we have to learn about geometry. This is the weirdest drawing video. We have to learn to solve for points, lines, angles, and surfaces. We have to learn to solve the circumference of a circle, the degree of an angle, the coordinates of 2 points. And just like math requires us to build off the previous skill, shapes, perspective, and construction help us make our drawings more dynamic. But shapes, perspective, and construction don't make our drawings feel real. This next skill taught me to add energy to a pose, how to use lines to create the sense that these static figures were alive. It helped me breathe life into my drawings. And this skill is called gesture drawing. But there's another skill that we'll need besides gesture drawing to really take our drawings to the next level. Okay, each of these skills have built on the next. Each of these skills have transformed how we think about drawing. Each of these skills requires some level of creativity with the knowledge that we have and how we solve the problems that are before us. And Algebra 2 is, I think, the most important thing that applies to how we draw. You see, Algebra 2 is a more complex version of Algebra 1. It requires many of the same skills as before. However, the level of difficulty has ramped up. And the same can be said about learning this next skill of drawing. You see, fundamentals are important. Learning 3D shapes, learning how to draw cylinders and cubes, But if we want our figures to resemble human beings, resemble the animes that we hope to learn to draw, then we have to learn the skill of anatomy. You see, anatomy fundamentally resembles the same concept of learning to draw 3D shapes by using contour lines and cross contour lines to give the sensation of dynamic form. But just like gesture drawing, anatomy is an important skill to develop. But I still feel like there's another skill that outpaces all of them. From math to drawing, from science to painting, there is a skill that many of us never learn to improve. You see, when I first started drawing, I had big dreams. But like many of us feel, drawing at first seems like a difficult skill to improve. We pick up pencils, we pick up our tablets, we watch and reread tutorials, we try our hardest to learn. And yet many of us quit due to perfectionism and disappointment. And if you want to learn to master the skill to let go of perfectionism and to keep drawing despite disappointment, then please watch this next video. I'll see you in the next one.